So we're here with John O'Reilly at the Shackleton Exhibition. John's going to take us through some of the delicacies the endurance crew would have been enjoying 99 years ago this week.
Okay, alright, very welcome, Darrell. Thanks very much. So their first Christmas, I think you may have mentioned earlier on, in 1914, they would have had quite a lot of luxuries still on board. So the kind of things they had were proper mince pies, you can probably see here, and some Christmas pudding, because they brought lots of Christmas pudding with them. They would have had tea, so here's just sort of an example of the kind of tea, you know, so smells like the real thing. Yeah. And they would have had lots of other stuff to eat in the normal sense of the word. They had ship's biscuits and butter and powdered milk. So they would have brought powdered milk. Now, obviously not been able to bring proper milk with them, so they would have brought powdered milk and then mix that with water or ice, because they were going to collect the ice straight off the ocean beside them and just let that melt down and that gave them the water. So as our explorer explained earlier, the first Christmas was fairly luxurious because they had jacket hair and other bits and pieces like that. And stable diet was actually what they called a thing called pemmican. Yeah. Now, pemmican is strips of beef dried out and then wrapped in fat, either lard, which is straight knobs of butter, or this stuff which is called suet. And this is an example. This is modern suet is really just the internal fat from an animal, normally a cow or a pig. And what they did was they would take the strips of beef and wrap it in with the fat, and then they would let it dry and put it into tins, either small tins or larger tins, so it would actually form into almost like a biscuit type shape. And then when they wanted to use some of it, they would take it and they would chip bits off and put it into a pot like this with a stove, and it would be heated up. And in that, they would also mix into that some of the powdered milk and the ice, and then they would add some crushed biscuits. They'd take some of the ship's biscuits, crush it up, and basically it end up as being a bit of a stew, and that's known as hoosh. And that's what they would have used.
And what do you recommend? Is it actually tasty, or is it just a way of getting plenty of calories and hot food into a human so we can pull a sleigh?
Well, it was basically to get some calories and energy into the individuals. So I don't think anybody really ever said it was actually really tasty. So,
but it was always there.
It was always there, and they had it. And when they're out on the ice, whenever they were exploring on the ice, they would have had these as small bits of them, and it was easy enough to heat up. All they had to do is have a pot. Obviously not like this one, but it would have had a pot, a bit of a flame, and that's all they had, and their ingredients would have made up. So if you wanted, you want to try a taste of just the beef.
Raw pemmican is preserved.
It's preserved. Yeah, it's cooked. It's cooked in dried beef. So it would taste just like beef.
Yeah,
as beef does now, right?
It's dried beef. So it's a little bland.
Yeah. Now the other thing, when you mix that in with your suet and your milk and your biscuits and stuff, you get the hoosh bit. So if you're brave enough to try a little taste of this and see what you think.
Yeah. There you go. You're giving me a tiny amount.
I'm giving you a tiny amount, yeah.
Nice of you.
So, there.
Okay. There it goes.
Here it goes, yeah. So, it would have been flavoured. Now, there's a bit of salt in that to make it not too bad. So again, they would have flavoured it with salt and peppers and stuff like that, and tried to make it as edible as possible.
It's absolutely not too bad at all.
So it's not too bad, yeah. So they would have lived off that and other things and supplemented everything nice. And then the mince pies then as well. So we have a proper mince pie for our guests to actually have afterwards, after a little present for having tasted it.
Right, to counteract the aftertaste of the fish.
The other thing, of course, is beans. Like obviously there's a modern jar of baked beans, but they would have had a fair bit of beans on board as well, because it's something they could carry in tins.
Along with your seals and your penguins and everything else.
Seals and penguins, yeah. So again, the penguins and seals were very much an important part of the diet, so they supplemented the diet, because they got fresh meat from those animals, which gave them vitamin C, really proper vitamin C, so they were able to keep away the scurvy and other diseases.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much. And if you want to try some Antarctic fish, you know the place to come. Yep.